Hi and welcome to a beginner's guide to Factorio. I will just take you through the basics to get you started in this game, and let's just get straight into it because there's a lot to cover right now. So I'll get rid of the webcam and we'll just go into the beginning of the game. The first thing is when you load into Factorio, you'll have this screen. So we're just going to single player, new game. There's a lots of different things you can try, but if you just want to get into the actual main game, you go into free play, go in here. So the first thing I like to do is finish off this video, take this tab, just going to delete that, and let's have a look at our map. So to get up the map, what we want to do is just click on the M button, and that just shows us everything around. So if we look at the map, we can see that we have stone, coal, iron, copper, our main resources. Our water down here, we got some trees over here. This is our ship, and a bit further out we have an enemy base. That's a little far away, so we don't need to worry about that so far. So once we do that, we're using our WASD key, and we're coming over here, and let's have a look at the materials. So how you gather materials is you will go up to them and right click, and that will just mine it very slowly, mine out the ground. Now this will take a long time to do, so what we want to do is start to automate this and get some mining equipment out straight away. So what we can do is I've clicked on E to get into our crafting and inventory menu, and then we can see that they have given us a burner miner drill, a stone furnace, and this is our material over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this one and this one to our hotbar. And the easiest way for me to do that is to drag it down here, click on there, well actually just one click, drag it down, click on there. So that's now part of our hotbar. So we need to gather the materials to start building essentially. So I want to get some iron because then we can build more things. So to do that, we want to get the miner drill, and you just click on it from your hotbar or your inventory. And then I am going to rotate around, and the rotation, what it does is where the arrow key is where it's going to pick up and drop the material. So it's going to drop the material where the arrow is coming out. So I'm going to put it down there. Now you can see it is saying it's got no fuel to actually get anything out. So I'm going to get some coal, which is just right next to it, which is perfect. So that's 3 bits of coal. We will need a lot more, but just to show you. So then when you click into the actual burner miner drill, just click on it, you can get the coal and put it into this fuel section. Now this will slowly produce the iron ore, and that will dump it out here. Now once it's produced one, it cannot produce any more unless you pick it up or you place it in something like a storage container or something that uses it. So again, it's just got one there, so you can click that back up. So what you want to do, firstly, is you want to put it in a stone furnace. So if I just click on it there, now you can see this needs fuel again, but this will slowly fill up with the iron. 14 and let's say 15 in 1 or 2 seconds, there we go. So now I'm going to get a little bit more coal, and I'm going to stick that in there, and the reason is we need to turn iron ore into a useful product, and we can't do that on our person. We need to actually use this stone furnace to smelt it down to produce the actual iron plate, is it called? What is it? Iron plate, yeah, it's just an iron plate. So this can be put into our inventory here, and you just click on it, and that will just put it in there. So we can see here we have the character selection. So if you do click on it, you can just drag it down and put it into your character inventory, and that will produce that. Now this is run out of iron, it's run out of coal again. So what I'll do is I'll just bash the ground a bit more, so at least we can get some iron plates. And what we'll do with that is we'll build more iron mining things. So go in there. quick way to place the coal in is to use your control. Click down on control and left click, and that will put it into the slot it needs to go in. I think that's got enough to burn out. So the other thing we need to gather up to create more miner drills is stone. So it's this kind of patchy stuff, and it's the same as before. We're just going to smack the ground, and I'm going to gather up about 20, so I'll just skip this part. So yeah, we've almost just collected up 20, and as you can see it says +1 stone, 21. So 21 refers, or 22 now, refers to the amount in your current inventory. So now I'm going to run back here, and by going back into our crafting menu, we can have a look at what we can craft. So we have logistics, production, intermediate products, and combat. So we want to go into production first, and as you can see we can build a burner miner drill. Now to build one we need 3 iron plates, 3 iron gear wheels, and 1 times stone furnace. So looking at this, when it's white, the 3 iron plates means it's in your inventory. When it's yellow, it means we can craft it in our inventory, and if it's red, it means you do not have the base material to craft it, or you can't craft it in the first place. So we can see total raw we need 5 stone and 9 iron plates. We have 10 iron plates and 22 stone. So what I will do is you can just click on that and that will produce it. So in the bottom left corner you can see the production of it building up, and that gives us another burner miner drill. The other way we could have done it is we can do the kind of the base materials first, click on that, and that will produce that, but we need more plates, so I can't do that. So once I've done that, I've got a second burner miner drill, so I'm going to click this down here. Now this again needs to feed into another stone furnace, so I will go over to production, and I'm just going to click that once, and that will give us another stone furnace. So then I can click it down here. These all 3 are going to be out of fuel, so I just need to bash some more coal. Yep, so I've got 20 bits of coal now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 5 in each. Now you can right click to halve it, so I'm just going to do that, and then right click again and bring back half. And then I'm going to go into here, I'm going to right click, and right click. This is just speeds things up a little bit. So I'm going to go back here and I'm just going to get a bit more stone, and now I've got a bit more stone, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to get the iron plates. So instead of having to click into the inventory to pick up 64 iron plates, you can actually go over, left control click with nothing in your hand and click on it, and that will take everything out of the inventory that you can take out. I don't think I can take out the coal if I do that. Oh yeah, I can. So you can take out the fuel if that's the case as well. So whatever's stored in these things, if you left click, control, left click, and that will take it out. So now let's see about producing coal without having to smack the ground every 2 seconds to get that up. So again, we need 2 miner drills for this. We don't actually need any stone furnaces, but we are producing them based on the recipe. So that's 1 and 2. We want to produce 4 in total, but 2 will start off. So what I want to do is I'm going to put 1 here with the arrow facing to the right, and 1 here with the arrow facing to the left, and I'm going to get 1 piece of coal. Now this will give us kind of an infinite amount of coal with this method. If you just put 1 piece of coal in, this will produce coal and place it into this one. Now this one will produce again coal and place it into this one. This will go back and forth until it reaches 50. Once it reaches 50, then you need to go and collect it out. So I'm just going to collect a bit out because I need to put more into here. So I just click that into there. And I will need to get some stone again for some more furnaces, so we can actually get more stone to produce more furnaces, to produce more of these things, and to get our production line up. So the other thing we also need is copper, but that will be for the next recipe we will be looking into. So I'm going to left click, get everything out of here, left click out of here. So you can see that reached 100. When this reaches 100, it will stop producing any more until you click it out. So you need to make sure you click it out when it reaches 100. And do I have any stone left? I've got 1 bit of stone left. So what I can do over here is I can produce 1 burner miner drill. I still need a lot of stone, so I'm just going to keep smacking the ground. And that gives us our one burner miner drill, so I'm going to place that down here. So the other thing you can look at is how much material is under the ground. So if I move this around, this will only dig down on the tile it's on. So you can see expected resources, it changes depending on what tile you're on. The further you get out, 223, the less it has. The more in the middle, you got 8,000. Out here you have 396, 223. I'm going to place it down here. So I also want to get some wood. So I'm going to smack the trees. I think this is the only way you can do this unless you use a gun and you can blast them, but I don't think that gives you the material. So I need to do that because with this one over here, I don't want to change it into anything. So I don't want to put it into any furnaces just yet. So I want to get a wooden chest. And with that wooden chest, I can place it into storage. So I'm going to grab all of that lovely coal and I'm going to go back, place it into here, and you can see where the arrow is. What we can do here now is we can click on the inventory and click it down there, and then the stone will just be placed into here. And so we can let that just build up a stone and then run back and collect it out of there as well. Again, I'm just going to get some more coal out of here and place it in here. So now everything's kind of running a lot more smoother and a lot more efficiently from where we started. So instead of smacking the ground, we have things to gather it out for us, and we have things to basically turn it into useful material. So the next thing I want to do is do the same, but for over here, and I also want to get 2 more mining drills so we can get kind of 100 on the go. Go back here, and then let's make a loop. So go put that one here, and one here. So that's going to feed into there, that's going to feed into there, that's going to feed into there, that's going to feed into there. Now we need to rotate this one around. Now it's on the ground, you can actually just hover over and click R, and that rotates anything on the ground even after you place it down. So this will just feed into here, and this should produce into here. You get iron plates by placing the iron into here. We get the same with here. So once we put down to here, I'm going to put the 2 burner miner drills feeding into here. You can see there's 277, 922 pieces underneath, and I'm going to grab 15, right click, halve it, right click, halve it, and then place it in there and place it in there, and that should produce some copper plates, which is what we need. I'll click out of here, so that's 104. 30. Oh, sorry, I got it wrong way around. There was only 30 in there, so it wasn't as much. It was just in my inventory I misread. So I got 13 more coal, 14, 15, 15. And go over here, and we have 18. So now that is how we kind of get our base material and how we kind of produce a production line quite early on in the game. What I will do is expand out this a little bit. Iron plates are something you will need a lot of. I mean, a lot of stuff early game depends on iron plates. So with that in mind, I will produce 2 more burner miner drills. Click that down there, click that down there. Bang, bang. When we produce pollution, I can show you on the M map. If you go onto M and click on this pollution, you can see this little pollution bubble. Now this will spread and get more intense, and this is what feeds and grows these bases up here. And once it reaches tipping point, they're going to come and attack what's produced in this pollution. So they're going to attack all the burning miner drills, unless you either destroy them or you reduce pollution. Unfortunately, we can't do either one right now. We're not, 1, strong enough, and 2, we don't have the technology to have clean energy right now. But we will have the ability to produce electricity, and we can defend that, because once you produce electricity, you can go with electric miner drills. But that is the next step we need to take. So to produce electricity early on in the game, you need 2 major things. You need a boiler and you need a steam room. Now, first, I like to build 1 boiler and 2 steam engines and 1 offshore pump. Also, I want to produce one of these pipes and two of these pipes. Now we just have to sit back and let all this just build up for 1 second. To be honest, the first thing I needed to do was the pump. So I've got the pump here. So I'm going to place this down into the quick bar down here, just to speed things up. So this is how you produce electricity first off, and this is a steam generated electricity. So when you click on the pump, you see all these green areas, and that's all the areas you can place the pump in. This needs to be just offshore here, so that's not in and that's not in. So anywhere there's a green square, that's where you can place it. Now I'm trying to think of the best place to run electricity. So I want it reasonably close to where my base is, and so that's going to be quite high up. So I think I will place it, actually I'll place it here. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to attach the water to a boiler. Now to do that, you can attach it straight away to here, or you can extend it down here, which is what I want to do because I want to make sure this isn't going to be an issue. Now the water, I will get rid of that. If you want to get rid of anything in that you're holding, it's just a quick Q button, that just deselects it. So we have two different types. We have a pipe that goes straight over ground, but you can't walk through it. So if I walk up here, I can't run through it. Well, I can, but off to the side. And if you want to get rid of it, it's just hold down, right click, and now place it back into your inventory. But I want to do a underground one. This just keeps your base a little bit neater, and I probably want to extend that a little bit further out. So let's get a few more pipes. But now, because it's underground, you can see it's still attached. And it has to be within this yellow bar as well. If I show you like this, it has to be facing the right way, so R. And you can see that yellow bar until it breaks. So here, it's no longer attached. Here, it is attached. So that's where you have to place it if you want it to be attached. And it has to be in the outward direction that it's facing, the opposite direction. So that looks about right. Now on the steam, what I want to do is I want to run the electricity kind of in this direction on the way down in terms of production. So you can see here there are 3 entrances. There are 2 water ones and 1 steam. The steam runs into the steam factories, and the water is literally the water from the pipes. So you can see in here there's water in the pipes. You can actually hover over and have a look. Water is 100 of 100, water 100 100, water 100 100. If this wasn't connected, odd enough, the water does stay in. If say this wasn't connected, it will be less, so 25 or 100. If it wasn't even touching water beforehand, because I think this now has a bit of water, it would say 0. So that can be another way just to see if you've connected it correctly. So once you connect that to the water side, here we go. If it's the other way, it doesn't matter. These are both water. You can see the arrows, they can go in and out. Now the steam only comes out this one pipe this way. Now I could have it this way, facing upwards, but I want it to be this way, and I'll show you why that is. So here we can connect it. Doesn't matter which way, doesn't really make a difference. They're both the same ways. I'm going to put down 2 here. You can actually run 3 of these off of 1 of these, but I'm just going to put 2 down for now. And you can actually extend this pretty much as far as you want over. So this same kind of area, you can extend it all the way over just by placing another boiler here and then more steam engines down here. But the next one, I'll put 1 more steam engine here and then extend out with boiler systems over here. So now we have an electricity generating area. So how useful is that? That is not very useful until we have things that use electricity. So steam gets generated by burning coal, which heats up the water, producing steam, which drives the turbines, which makes electricity. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to place 50 ones in here. You can see this is burning through just fine. It will do that until it makes the water reach 165 degrees, which you can see on the right hand side. So once it reaches that, it will stop burning coal until the water temperature falls below 165. Now in here it's saying that there's nothing connected to the electricity circuit, and so it's not going to produce electricity because it doesn't need to. It hasn't got a need to do that yet. So let's give it a need to produce electricity, and the best thing I can think of is so it can essentially power itself. Now how it's going to power itself is we are going to build 2 electric miner drills, and this uses copper cables, electric circuits, but the electric circuits are iron plates and copper cables which are coming from copper plates. So once you have the base material, that's absolutely fine because it will produce it in your inventory and then produce the item you want to. So we should now have the burner miner drill. Now we don't want these anymore in our hotbar at least, so I'm going to middle mouse click on that. That will get rid of that, and I will place this down here. I won't be using burner miner drills from now on. I will just be using these electric miner drills. So the difference between electric and the coal is 1, these use electric over coal, and 2, it now has a 5x5 square base where it can draw out the material. So instead of having just the underneath of where you place the drill on, now it can produce, well, now it can extract over larger parts of the planet. That was really poorly choiced. So I'm going to place it 1 down here, and I want to place 1 directly opposite, but with 1 gap between them. These are actually overlapping in where they can actually extract the material, but that's fine because we want this pathway. I'm just going to get some more iron over here. And now what I want to do is produce something called transporter belts. And I am going to produce a lot of transporter belts. And to do that fast, you can actually right click. Every time you right click, it tells it to build 5 of them. If you've actually built something you don't want to build, the only way to get rid of it is just to click off it. So 124, these are stacking in 100. I'm going to move this into my hotbar. You only need to move 1 of them into your hotbar, because then it takes both stacks and puts it into your hotbar. You can actually you can put multiple ones in your hotbar, but there's no point. 0 point, it's the same thing. The other useful thing to know, if you hit Alt, it will then tell you what's in each container or machinery or what it's producing. So here, if you click Alt or click this button down here, it will show you there's iron being produced in these furnaces, and there's stone in this box over here, and these are producing copper plates up here. So now we want to run this cable. This belt doesn't actually need power, so I'm going to run this cable all the way down, sorry, this belt all the way down a little bit further. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to rotate the direction so it's facing that way, and I'm going to leave 1 gap. So not straight here, 1 gap, and I'm going to run this back to meet this one. Now to meet up with them, depending on which way, it should snap into place, but you know, if it's straight down like that, just click R so it's looking like that and click in. Some of it's just trial and error, some of it's a bit funny, but that's usually just fine. Now the other thing we need to produce now is small electrical poles. Now for every 1 you click on, you should produce 2. So I'm going to put this into my hotbar again, and I'm going to right click and just produce, I guess, 8, so 10 in total. I probably need a little bit more than that, so what I'm going to do over here is I need to get some trees for that. So that's 4 wood. That gives me 4, that's another 8, so that's 14. Maybe a bit more wood, because I will need a lot of cabling. When you do cut down forests actually help to prevent pollution. The less forests you have, the less trees, the more pollution there is. So the locals do not like you cutting down too many trees because that will spread pollution even faster. But now we have all that wood, we can, I'm just going to right click, click some more on there. We can get the power cables up. So I'm going to click one here. So these need to be connected, both of them. And I'm going to run this neatly up here. It doesn't need to be that neat. So what I want to do is run this to those electric miners. One of the quickest ways to run cabling is to left click where you placed the last one and just run, because that will give you the exact amount. If you go too far, it will break. So I think that's far enough. Then up here, I just want to leave one gap in between the belts and there. So if I left click on here and run up, that will just click down at the maximum distance you can have it. So here it's going to break. So I want to make sure both of these are being touched by the square underneath. And now this is going to produce coal. Now this coal is going to come all the way down here and over to this thing over here. And now we need to get something called an inserter. We can do burner inserters, but this uses coal. We're going to use this one here. And again, I'm going to use this a lot, so I'm going to put it into my hotbar. And I'm going to click on there and click on this here. Now, where it's got the straight bar, see if I can zoom in, that's where it's going to pick things up. The arrow is where it's going to place it in. Now this has got 43, so I'm going to take that all out because it will only put in 5 at a time. Once it reaches 5, it will stop putting coal in. This is so if you have a chain of them, one or the first one isn't like taking as much as it can and leaving nothing for the rest. It's so it evenly spreads out the things. And with belts you can create infinite loops, or you can create kind of like a cut-off like we have here, and so nothing gets wasted. So yep, as soon as this goes down, it will just feed it in one more time, so you can watch it here. And that is how you first automate your electricity grid. And what we can do with this, we can do the similar thing with the iron over here and the copper over here. But that seems to be like a pretty good place to end this first beginner's guide to this. I will go on in my next episode to say how we do the copper, how we do the copper, how we do the iron, and how we go on to researching and other things as well. But thank you so much for watching this episode, and I will see you in the next one.